As with all things, 2022 was a weird year. Maybe every year for video games is just a weird year now. Cool experimental indies hidden beneath a sea of AAA clones, many hindered by bloated mechanics and systems and technical issues, all sitting beneath a towering, all-consuming early year behemoth. The shadow of Elden Ring loomed large over the year, but many games managed to escape it by doing something completely different rather than trying to match Elden Ring's scale or ambition. So for the 4th year in a row, here's my top 10 games of the year, as always in order, as I am no coward. An unabashed checklist game. Nobody Saves the World just overwhelms you with little objectives to complete, big and small, and you go about gleefully completing them. Combat is the classic simple but with depth, as you unlock more abilities across the different forms and mix and match to your heart's content, but it is those various forms that make the game stand out. Some are silly, some are fun, some are useless by design, some are useless by accident, but unlocking them all and messing around with them sustains the experience. Those green Tinykin are wonderful little fellows. The little snap as they pop one on top of another so you can scale obstacles in this game speaks to the little delights that fill it. The level design is such that the second you finish collecting something, you're constantly pulled over to another area to grab something else. It creates non-linear levels that feel like they have natural paths through them when they really don't. Not all the Tinykin are created equal, the electric and bridge building ones are kind of lame, but the pure platforming and collection aspect of Tinykin really scratches the itch you want from these kind of games. And I cannot commend enough their decision to leave combat out of the game. The moment you first encounter the one in Immortality, after a while of scrolling through immaculately constructed fake movies wondering what the point of all this even is, sticks with you. It's unnerving, it's unsettling, it's captivating, and it makes you desperately want to dig deeper into those tapes. The movies themselves are so time appropriate and brilliantly crafted that I'd almost want to watch them standalone, but the mystery of just what's going on below the surface carries the experience. Especially so with the hauntingly curious central performance. You might be saying to me, but Garrett, Splatoon 3 is really just more Splatoon. To which I would say, yes. Splatoon's Turf War mode standing as an all-time great multiplayer mode means they can churn this out every few years with some new maps, specials and weapons, and it will forever feel fresh and engaging. While still not perfect, they've improved some of the infrastructure around it to make it much faster and easier to get into games. The single-player campaign is also the best it's ever been, evoking Mario games in the best way with the classic introduce a cool idea, iterate on it, and then throw it to the side for something completely new formula. Kid now, squid now, for life. There really is something to games where you can just turn your brain off. I could talk about Vampire Survivor's depth of gameplay, how so many of the different character and weapon combinations are fun and engaging to play with, how killing hundreds of enemies at a time feels very satisfying, but really, the core of this game is switching off and seeing the numbers on the screen go up as you kill lots of things and try not to die. It's a small, simple joy, but a very rewarding one. The technical shortcomings of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have already been thoroughly documented. There is nothing more interesting I can say about that other than the 1,000 videos you've seen of it in action. What the conversation about those performance issues obscured is a fantastic, ambitious game that swings further for the fences than it honestly probably should. It offers players complete freedom to roam the Paldea region in any direction you like, with story quests in all directions to find. It also builds on the movement options in Pokemon Legends Arceus so that no mountain or river is an obstacle between you and where you want to go. The core design is exactly the direction Pokemon should be moving in, and hopefully, by the time the mix of technical prowess, hardware power, and development time afforded Game Freaks by the various stakeholders involved actually matches the biggest media property in the world, they can deliver a truly knockout Pokemon game. As is, though, This game is so much fun if you can get past the surface flaws. Given the churning out of games that feel completely indistinct from one another, and egregious cases of slapping the number 2 on the title screen like Overwatch, the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe's commentary on what it means to release a sequel, or a remake, or a re-release, or an updated port, or an HD remaster cuts even deeper than it would any other year. Full of utterly sensational bits, constantly taken to their extremes, the Stanley Parable's razor wit feels timelier than ever. Not to mention some of the new endings involving the never-ending pit, the skip button, the bad reviews, and of course, the bucket, are even better than the already great material from the original game. Playing through Live Alive almost made me feel bad about modern games. This weird, experimental JRPG from over 25 years ago has more interesting ideas than most quote-unquote next-gen games. The structure, playing through little vignettes spread across fun genres like spaghetti western or space horror or kung fu movies or fighting games or even classic JRPGs themselves, gave a delightful sense of variety as you were constantly introduced to new characters, told a quick, engaging story with them, and then whisked off to something completely different. All the scenarios have a distinct art direction, a supporting cast of playable characters unique to each time period, with music for each section too. It helped make each scenario feel like a fully fleshed out world even though most were only a couple of hours long. Also, the game is absolutely stunning, showcasing the very best of Square's HD 2D to date. All games should be this inventive and novel, and this good looking, frankly. It might seem like there's something of an inevitability to Elden Ring on lists like this, mostly because it's an astounding achievement, and there is. Most lists like this should have Elden Ring on them. But this game had a level of hype and anticipation prior to release that many of even the best games would fail to live up to. Not only did Elden Ring live up to that hype, it somehow exceeded it. It is scale on another level. From the size of the world, to the dense details of the storytelling, to the outstanding art design, to the unmatchable feeling of conquering a boss that has kicked your ass for an hour, to the moment we all have when we realize just how big the world in this game actually is. But most of all, the sense of freedom defines this game. It's the first game since Breath of the Wild to have that true sense of unguided exploration. No matter where you go, there's something new and interesting to find. Usually, something looking to ruthlessly kill you. Everybody's path through Elden Ring will be different. Everybody will have different stories. Everybody will go to different places in different orders and play in completely different ways. Elden Ring is a towering behemoth in the 2022 gaming landscape for a very good reason. I honestly never expected to be here. I enjoyed the first 2 Xenoblade Chronicles games well enough, and found X on Wii U a little too dense in its systems for my tastes. If you'd asked me, at the start of the year, what the chances Xenoblade Chronicles 3 could be my game of the year were, I'd have said exceptionally slim. And yet here we are. Not only is this my game of the year, it's one of my favorite games ever. The bleak and depressing world they craft around a 10-year cycle of war and death lends itself to some truly beautiful and touching moments as the characters you lead around Xenoblade's typically vast and impressive landscapes break free of that cycle and learn there's more to life than fighting for an ill-defined cause. The peak of that story, at the end of Chapter 5, will stay with me for a very long time. The music is exceptional on a level above most other video games, with pulse-pounding battle themes, stirring environmental music, moving compositions for cutscenes, and a level of complexity and emotional maturity that sits in the pantheon of great musical achievements full stop, video game or otherwise. The combat is the fastest paced and most fluff-free in the series to date. The scale of the enemies and areas remains ever impressive. The sheer amount of fulfilling side content in the game borders on unfathomable, but most of all, at its core, is some memorable, multi-dimensional, well-performed characters that carry the weight of both life and this game on their shoulders. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 moved me. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is my 2022 Game of the Year. That's it. That's 2022. Maybe in 2023, I'll make more than 2 videos. You really never know. I really did love Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I really didn't expect to, but here we are. Let me know in the comments below what was your Game of the Year, and I may be back in 2023 with something Final Fantasy related, who knows. I am looking forward to Final Fantasy 16. Follow me on Twitter, @GarrettKidney. Hit the subscribe button for maybe other videos. Again, there's no promises. On your left, my Game of the Year from 2020. On your right, my Game of the Year from 2021. There's also a 2019 video if you'd like to see that out. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.